The goal is that you can do the rule mentally and do some simplification, hopefully mentally. But understand when you multiply and when you divide. That's what I really want us to check. So on 1 through 5, we have the special right 30, 60, 90. And I said home base is a short leg. So you got to remember, if I'm going to to long leg to short leg, what are you going to have to do? Divide by radical 3. So if I go from here to here, we are dividing by radical 3. I don't know if you can see that's division. Doesn't look like it. All right, but if I'm going from short leg to hypotenuse, you're multiplying by 2, okay? If I'm going from hypotenuse to short leg, you're dividing by 2. And if I'm going from short leg to long leg, you're multiplying by radical 3, okay? So that's what I wanted to make sure we can do. So I have this long leg 5. I need to get to the short leg. We're going to divide by radical 3. But we can't keep the radical at the bottom. So you should rationalize it. And you should have got 5 square root of 3 over 3. Now, short leg to hypotenuse, you're going to now do what? Multiply by 2. So this is 10 square root of 3 over 3. Okay, you just multiply the top. All right, so now I have the short leg. This is where it's easier. So if I have the short leg, it's 5. What's the hypotenuse? 10. Short leg is 5. What's the long leg? 5 square root of 3. Now I have the hypotenuse. I need to go to the short leg. The hypotenuse is 5, so the short leg is going to be, I could take 2.5 or 5 divided by 2. That's a simplified fraction. Now from here, short leg to long leg, we're going to have to do what? Multiply by square root of 3. So I would accept this, or you could say 5 divided by 2 root 3. Either ones I would accept. All right, we have the short leg. It is 7 root 3. We want to get the hypotenuse. So we times by 2. So we should have 14 root 3. If this is my short legs, 7 root 3, to get to the long leg, you're multiplying by root 3. So did anyone get 21? All right, good. All right, so we got the long leg. It's a 6. We need to go to the short leg. So we divide. We should get, 2 root 3. And then to get to the hypotenuse, you double it. So 4 root 3. Okay? Now, on the next set, now we have a right isosceles. So A and B are always going to be the same because these are your legs. And then C is your hypotenuse. So to go from a leg to the hypotenuse, what do you do? Yeah, multiply now by a radical 2. Yeah, square root of 2. But if I have the hypotenuse and I need to come back to the leg, we're going to divide by root 2. All right, so this should be easy. A is 5, B is 5, C is 5 radical 2. Oh, again, B is 5, A is 5, so we get 5 root 2. Now, C is 5, but we got to go back to B, so now we're dividing. So we should have 5 root 2 over 2. That means that A is also going to be 5 root 2 over 2. All right, B is 4 root 2. So A is 4 root 2. And the hypotenuse would be 8. Yes, multiplied by root 2. If the hypotenuse is 4 root 2, then A and B have to be 4. All right, we are done. Any questions on that? All right. We are going to check your homework check 2. Switch your packets. I'm going to come by and get red pens if you don't have one to grade with. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about, because you're going to have some multi-step problems, and that's going to be like 11 through 16. We're going to walk through this. First, 11 wants you to find the measure of angle ADB. So if I go from A to DB, what's the measure of that angle? 90. Okay, so we're going to put 90. All right, now they want us to find the measure of DC. DC is right here. So in order for me to find that, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the right triangle DBC. I'm going to look at that triangle first. All right. In this triangle here, DBC, DC is opposite the 30, so this is the short leg. DB represents what part in this triangle? The long leg. Okay, so from the long leg to the short leg, what are you going to have to do? Divide by what? Radical 3. So basically, I'm going to get my short leg, I'm going to take my long leg divided by radical 3. So I'm going to now say the 3 square root of 2 divided by the square root of 3. Can I leave that as my answer? No. So what do we do now? Yeah, rationalize it, multiply by the square root of 3 over 3. So I need you to simplify this answer because it's going to cancel out. Yeah, okay. This would give me 3 square root of 6 over 3. The 3's cancel out. DC is the square root of 6. Oh, sorry. It should be 90. All right, let me fix this real quick. Square root of 6. That was the short leg. All right, so from the short leg, we now can find who? The hypotenuse. All right, so if I go up to my hypotenuse, which is BC, we just got to double it, times 2. So BC is going to be 2 root 6. Good. No math, mental math. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and label that on the triangle, 2 root 6. Now they want us to find AB. AB is the hypotenuse in the triangle ABD. Okay. So now I got to look at the triangle on the left. Since they have the 30 here, DB is now going to be the short leg. So that's your home base. So to get to the hypotenuse, what do we do? Yeah, we times it by 2, so this would be 6 root 2. Times by 2. All right. Now they want us to also find AD. AD is your long leg over here. So what do we do to find the long leg? Multiply by the square root of 3. So this would be 3 root 6. Yes. I hope you're figuring them out before I do, because that's the whole key. All right, now, we got to talk about this part. They want us to find AC, so that means the long leg plus the short leg. Yeah, 4 root 6. Okay, 4 root 6. Multiply what? I'm going from here to here. So that means I'm have to take the side of AD plus what DC is. So we're not multiplying, we're adding them up. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, 22 real quick. Says at the time of day the sun can be sighted at an angle of 60 degrees above the horizon. The flagpole casts a shadow of 21. I know you don't see here, but this is 21 at the very bottom, so that tells me where that goes. They want to know how tall the pole is, which is opposite the 60, so that now lets me know it is the long leg. So 21 represents what part? Short leg. All right, so what do I do to go to short leg to long leg? Multiply by square root of 3. So my final answer just would be 21 root 3. Now, on the next page, I'm going to give you the test-like questions that you'll see on your test on Thursday, or I'm just going to kind of change them up. Yes, sir? It's not isosceles, because there's a 60. Yeah, it's scaling. All right, so circle for me 24, 25, and 26. 24, 25, 26. Test light. All right, so on 24, find the length of the altitude of an equilateral triangle with a perimeter of 48 inches. What you're trying to find, I'm going to circle that, is the length of the altitude. The reason why these are going to be test-like, or the way they're going to be set up with test-like, is no picture. So what would be the first thing we need to do? Yeah, and what should we draw? Yeah, we got to draw the equilateral triangle. So right now, if I do this, kind of looks like it. Is it equilateral? Not yet. Is it equilateral? Yes. Is it equilateral? Yes. Okay. You got to see that 60. You got to see the tick marks. Okay. Now, we are given that the equilateral triangle has a perimeter of 48 inches. This is going to be a multi-step problem on your test. You're going to take what's given and use that to draw your picture and problem solve. So, what do I know? Huh? How'd you get that? You're right. 16 on each side. If the perimeter is 48, and I divide by 3, that means that each side is 16. Okay. That makes sense? Who are we trying to find? The altitude. Okay, so that means we need to draw that. Mine's a little off, but the altitude has to go from the vertex, and it's perpendicular to the opposite side. So there's my altitude. What happens when I draw to that altitude to the side? It gets cut in half, so that becomes 8 and 8. Do you see you now have a special right triangle? Yeah. It's a 30 because this becomes 30 up here. That 60 gets cut in half, so we have a 30, 60, 90. And 8 is your short leg. 16 is your hypotenuse. How would I find the long leg? Multiply by what? Root 3. We're going to get the long leg. We're taking that short leg, multiply by root 3. All right, so our answer would be 8 root 3. And we're done. So you're going to see that on the test. No picture. I'm going to tell you it's equilateral, but I'm going to give you a different perimeter. You have a question? Okay. Do y'all understand what to do here? All right, so I want you to use your knowledge, use the same type of thing set up for number 25, because on 25, you now have a square. Because one of them is going to be equilateral on your test, and the other one's going to be a square. Since the perimeter square is 72 inches, what is the length of the diagonal? This is what we're trying to find. So you're going to have to draw a square. And the diagonal is what we're trying to find. 2, the sides, which we should have 18. Now, the diagonal, when you draw it, creates what type of triangle? Yeah, it's a right isosceles, because I can see these two sides, these two legs are the same. All right, so if they're both 18, then what do we do just to get to that hypotenuse? Multiply by radical 2. So we should have 18 square root of 2. Okay. Now, 26, the picture's already given to you, and it tells you that the equilateral triangle, each side has the measure of 11 feet. So 11, and then here it gets broken in half, so you could say 11 over 2, or I accept it 5.5. Okay, I would accept either one. Again, they want us to find the altitude. So what would the altitude? 26 is like 24. Anyone figure out how to get to the altitude? Yep, it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This is the short leg. So I'm trying to get to the long leg. You multiply by root 3, so you could have 5.5 root 3, or I would accept 11 over 2 root 3. Either one would be right. Okay? So those 3 are test-like. Now we need to move on to 28 and 29. These 2 as well are test-like. You will have to be finding some perimeter. They want us to find the perimeter of the quadrilateral WXYZ on 28. Okay? Now, we have to figure out the missing side. So we need to find WX, we need to find YZ. Anything that's given that you can maybe use, that you see. Yep, this 45 degrees now tells me I have a right isosceles. Okay? They gave us the hypotenuse. It is 8 square root of 2. So automatically you should know by now that the legs are what? And I said 8. It's 18, excuse me. What I heard it. Yeah, 18. This is 18, and this is 18. If you divide by square root of 2, you're just left with 18. So if I know x, and then we don't have a side here, but if I know if this leg is 18, then what other segment is also 18? Yeah, one across. WZ is 18. Because we're trying to do the perimeter. That's the distance around. So I now need to figure out how to get to WX. 25. How do we get to 25? You're right. Right. If I know this part is 18, the whole thing is 43. So just 43 minus 18. So this gives me 25. Okay? Now, they want us to find the perimeter. That's your distance around. So 18 plus 25 plus 18 root 2 plus 43 simplified would be the perimeter. So combine like terms and see if you have the right simplified answer. Combine the like terms. Andy? Yep, 86, good, plus 18 radical 2. That is the answer. You cannot add the 86 and the 18 root 2. They are not like terms. Okay? Now, on 29, guarantee you're going to have 2 adjacent triangles. You're going to have to start with one, use that one to help you find the other. So where do you want to start? The 60, okay. So we're going to start with the QTS, and I need to probably fix that. QTS. So the 60 automatically is the long leg here. So I need to get to always the short leg, which is home base. What would I need to do to go from the long leg to the short leg? Divide by root 3. Okay, so 36, square root of 2. Divide by the square root of 3. Can I keep this like this? Nope, we got to rationalize it. That gives me 36 square root of 6 over 3. Yep, 12 radical 6 is my short leg. 12 square root of 6. I'm going to go ahead and label that on the outside. All right, so if I know the short leg is 12 square root of 6, then who's 24 square root of 6? Yeah, ST. So we're going to label that 24 square root of 6. You just double it. Emmanuel, are you even trying right now? It don't look like it. That's what I'm asking. I can maybe be misinterpreting. I'm like, I see pencils moving, eyes and heads bobbing from other students, and yours is on the desk. That's not going to cut it for me, so sit upright, please. All right, so we have that right triangle, and we need to move to QRS. This is the hypotenuse. How do I get to this leg? Divide by what? So this means that the legs are 36. Can you get the perimeter now? Combine like terms. Yeah, 72 plus 36 root 6. Okay. You should have picked up the review when you walked in. I'm going to put the test like on at Moto. Test is Thursday. You need to start preparing.